The main function of an audio system is to cause the least amount of damage to a recording that this system is reproducing. The quality of a recording cannot be improved. The music that's been recorded on the media is that's the starting point. So if we can't improve the recording and only degrade it, so we would like to be able to help the energy and the information that the recording contains to be transmitted to the listener without degradation. That's basically the main objective. This begs the question, why can the original recording not be improved but only degraded? The answer is very simple. It is because the materials and components, passive, active, that is used inside a system, they're not perfect in the first place. If you look at conductors, there's no single conductor or capacitor or inductor that doesn't come with other properties or parasitic properties. Every inductor is also a conductor, and it is also a resistor and is also a capacitor. To a lesser degree, every conductor is also a capacitor and an inductor and a resistor at the same time. So whichever passive component or material one is going to look at, they all come with parasitic properties. It's not like we have one perfect conductor that is free of resistance, unless it's a supraconductor, but still, that's one side, that's the physical aspect of it. The other aspect that is less paid attention to in the audio design, that is actually what sound character each material and component has. Because every material and component, they all have their own character. And that character is not part of the textbook. The character of the conductive material or conductor can only be defined by the listener. Most people don't listen, they just measure it. Oh, that's this with conductance. That is a better one, it has least amount of other parasitic things, so this must be the better conductor. How is this capacitor going to sound? It's not written on top of that capacitor on the label. But for example, black gate capacitors, which are so highly praised and one of the best capacitors that I came across. They have incredible transparency, they have incredible holography once they are charged. They have nice even frequency response, but they're not the cleanest sounding or the most fullest sounding capacitors. And then again, when I'm saying black gate capacitors, then there's a range of black gate capacitors. There are several models, and there are years, different capacitances, and there are different voltage ratings, and they're all slightly different. They're all not made equal. So my point is that nothing was created equally. You can't have one capacitor that does everything, for example. There's no perfection, and that's what I mean by imperfect components. Every material is going to have some sort of tint and coloration. That is important to understand. You can't have one conductor or one material, one capacitor that is going to be clear and be basically the wide frequency spectrum. It doesn't work. It's only a part of the spectrum. There's always going to be something that it doesn't do. As a painter, one needs to understand the whole picture that one is going to portray and paint, and how those colors are going to be matched and mixed together in order to give one that specific result. As an audio designer, one needs to be very wary of these properties and characteristics. This is something that goes beyond the textbooks. So this is something one learns when one experiments with circuits, materials and components. And very few people who are actually in this industry are actually aware of that. I don't think there are many companies that do that. Because this is the costliest part of R&D. It's very easy to measure something. It's very hard to find the right balance and the proportions of particular materials and components, and have the know-how how to mix one with the other. That's the most labor-intensive, time-consuming and costly process there is. Best possible result is achieved when one has one material or one component that has certain characteristics that we like, and it is combined with another material and component that has other complementary characteristics. And they're blended in such a way that they harmonically match and harmonize and synergize together and work in unison. That is going to give us this full picture with least amount of imperfections. That right balance, that's what we call as a harmonic matching. And that's the core principle behind S1X audio design. Selecting materials and components based on their sonic properties and combining them in such a way that they sound in harmony and unison. It's not what's inside, how expensive the material is, or how great everything is, how great one or the other material is that you find inside those chassis. It's how did you match those great materials? How did you make those materials to work together? That's what makes everything sound at its highest possible potential.